Hello, everyone. Randy Hawthorne here, and today's talk is with Maryanne Dersch. Maryanne has become a fast friend of mine. I really enjoy talking with her, and we talk about a number of things. But today we're looking at what I call leading from where you are, or creating influence from where you are, is kind of more where Maryanne does that. And I know a lot of us have some issues with that. And so, Maryanne, tell me what you've discovered around this particular issue.
Yeah, another word you could use like leading from the middle, right? How do you affect change sandwiched in between a board and a staff, or if you are, a leader in a nonprofit. And I hear a lot of people who say, I have a lot of good ideas, but people don't listen to me. They don't, um, or I try to share my ideas and they just kind of fall flat, and I don't know why that is. That's the feedback I get a lot. And sometimes this is around ideas around, the marketing or fundraising folks that I typically work with, but other times it's around they want to have bigger, better conversations around stuff like diversity and inclusion, but they just don't know how to even start having that conversation because the risk feels so high, right, that nobody says anything, and then we just kind of go on with the status quo.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, what what's a way to get started around that? Like,
Yeah.
what do you
um,
usually say?
I'm going to tell you the best way is it's not really about your idea, but understanding where the other person or whoever you want to influence is. So when I say influence, I mean how to get people you have no authority over to do what you want them to do. And but doing it in a sense that they think it's their idea. So the first thing I want you to think about is just setting the ego aside. Like, it doesn't matter if it's your idea or their idea as long as they're doing what you want them to do. So you like, oh, I wanted to do it because it's my idea, and like, yeah, and also, or do you want to get it done?
Yeah.
So and that's the first thing. But really it's about what I call deep listening, and really tabling what it is that you want to have happen. Don't worry about that so much. Just tap into the other person. So when I tell people, hey, I want to go to my executive director or my board, and I want them to, say yes to something. Um, and like sometimes, like people who like join my influence course, their first lesson in influence is to get a yes to join my course. Right. So I'll say, okay, this is how you do it. You listen, say, tell me, like, and however you can open that conversation, like what are your goals for the year, what are your visions, whatever. Get them talking about what they want, what they see, what their pains and gains are, right? Like, what are their challenges? Because what you want to do is then take your idea and position it as a solution for one of their problems. Okay, so it's not about pitching or selling. It's about deep listening to where they're at. And then once you have an understanding of where they're at, what they want, what they see the challenges are, then now, you're open. And one of the things I teach is deep empathy, because when people feel seen and heard and understood, they relax, like their whole body relaxes, their subconscious relaxes, and then they become open to what you have to say. And a lot of times when we want to get our idea across, we're pitching or selling. And when people feel that, they immediately put up the barriers, because people hate being sold, but they love to buy.
Yep.
Right. So so you want to put them in a position to buy, because buying is our choice. Right. Selling feels like it's not, oh, I'm being sold to, and then you have to put these defensives up. But buying is like, bring it, give it to, it's an attraction. So that is the biggest thing, is just that deep listening. And once you validate, okay, so what I'm hearing is this is something that's important to you, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yes, that's it. Exactly. Like, great. I'm so glad you said that, because I now I have something I want to share with you. And now they're like, yeah, what is it? And it's a completely different conversation. And this is even like in donor conversations, like you don't have to pitch or sell, you have to listen. And when people feel seen and understood, they will buy from you and buy whatever you're selling, right? Like an idea, a potential donation, they'll buy to the point where they feel seen and heard. So that's your only job, is to help people feel seen and heard. Then once you do that, then you can explain what you want to have happen.
That is great advice. And so what I'm hearing is that people can use this.
Quick learner. So what I'm hearing, yes.
I try. This tactic, this skill, I would say, can be used in a number of different ways. You could be using it to fundraise, to be at a board meeting to get your board to do something, or your board president, or if you're a staff member, getting your executive director to open up to some of the things that you would like to see because you're closer to it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's a great skill to remember for just a number of things that you
yeah, and like I use it with my spouse, my kids. My husband calls it the like this voodoo that you can't do that on me. It is like, I think sometimes we forget, because we get excited about what we want to share, how important listening is. And if you can, like, what I tell people is, if you can, like, I say this all the time: when you come in contribution, your needs will be met. Like, when you are really listening, and your idea actually is a solution to the problem. This is not about manipulating or forcing. This is like,
right.
let me like, because, hey, your idea may not need to, like, maybe your idea isn't the one that needs to be implemented. But like, when you can really listen and say, okay, now I can understand how to position this idea in a way that it meets the needs of the person that I wanted to say yes to, it's going to be much easier to get a yes. Instead of, trying to pitch or sell. Even when I have people say, like, oh, we want a, like a pitch slide deck or a pitch deck. Oh, no, you don't. Or like board members will say, oh, I can't, it's so hard for me to fundraise because I'm not sure I'm going to say the wrong thing. And I always say, it has so little about what you say. It's not about getting that speech right or getting that ask right. It's just about listening and validating, right? And then when people feel understood, and you are truly receiving them. We almost got
We almost made it.
We almost made it. Those are my foster puppies. They are learning to stay quiet in the crate while I'm talking. That once they feel seen and heard and understood, then they relax, and then they will hear what you have to say. And so you don't, and that is with anything. And especially I feel like in fundraising conversations, because a lot of this tension develops because the askee is like, when should I ask? How much should I ask? Blah, blah, blah. And then the ask or is like, well, how much are they going to ask me for? Can I get out of this? How much do I want to give them? Blah, blah, blah. And our brains are spinning and spinning and spinning, and we're not really present to what's being said.
Right.
So if you can just set aside your idea and just really listen with let go of the outcome and just listen to what they have to say, then you say, okay, does this work with what their needs are? And if I can authentically say yes, then I can go like, hey, I'm so glad you said that, because there's something I think would really work and meet your need of, A, B, or C, right? Like,
right.
Meet your need of like building staff morale, or meet your need of, raising like, and this is it. And they're like, oh, well, show me, because they've already identified what the problem is, and that you've already said you understand the problem and that you may have a solution. Because a lot of times you're coming with a problem and a solution, and if they don't see the problem, they're not going to buy into the solution. I mean, this is the bottom line. And if they take like this is and if they like again, just the idea, if however it gets implemented, it gets implemented. What I was like, they may think it's their idea, and that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's actually a good thing, because now they love it so much they took ownership of it, and that's
now you don't
that's
have
like
to do it.
right. Or like when I would do like messaging for organizations and write taglines and for them, and the organization, like, yeah, we wrote this tagline, and like, well, they didn't write the tagline, I wrote the tagline, but they were so happy, and that's what I wanted, because they loved it so much that they created it. And that's a good thing. So if they love the idea so much, it becomes theirs. then it's like that's even better. So like that's the release of the ego of getting tied to it, and just like knowing what you need to do to get that change happening is know that it doesn't have to all be about you. It just has to be about the idea that you see, knowing that that you're the one that's really making it happen.
Yeah. Well, this is such valuable information. I really thank you for sharing
I
this.
am so sorry about
No, you just need to figure out how to speak dog and put this voodoo on them,
I tell you, they're getting better every day. They are. But I'll tell you, can I tell you this little story? So yesterday I let them out, and they ran to the sofa, and they actually cried at the bottom of the sofa to get on the sofa, because my husband had them up there on Sunday, like watching football. So
Oh,
instead of crying and they ran across the room and like were crying to get back on the couch.
got a taste of
Like,
that football.
they're 7 weeks old Shar-Pei mixed puppies. So
Oh, that's so
I know, like I don't have enough to do. Yes, I love them. I love them. I swear.
Well, I could talk to you all day, Maryanne. I know.
I know, you too, Randy. This is always so fun.
Yeah. So thank you for being with us here today. We're going to be doing some more stuff together down the road.
Next week.
Yeah, something like that. And if any of you would like to be featured on today's talk, we love to hear peer stories from other nonprofit organizations, challenges that you might have, successes that you'd like to share. I love talking to you. So just check us out on Facebook and let us know that you're out there doing awesome stuff. So thanks a lot.